welcome back to the Gnostic Informant, and you are about to attain true gnosis. And today, as you can see, I got a new camera, and now it's not going to turn off anymore from the devil overheating it, but it is really close, isn't it? Really close shot. So I got this new camera. It's a Z-Cam, and it doesn't have zoom, so you have to buy lenses. So I have two lenses. One of them just showed up, so I didn't even try using that one yet. And the other one is a 50 millimeter lens, which is the one I'm holding on, which is the one I have in right now. It's super, super close up, which I kind of like. I don't know how often I'll use it, but definitely for lives and getting sound feedback. Oh, shoot. It's not sounding good? How's that? Is it too loud? Hold on, let me try something. I got a new mic, so apologize. New mic, new problems. This is good. This will be a good little test run to is really that bad? Okay. Alright, let me try this then. Let me try something. Oh, I think I know what's going on, guys. I know what's going on, guys. I didn't change my settings over yet. Duh. Thanks for everyone. All right, check that out. How's that sound? That's got to be good now, right? Better? How does that sound? This should sound good, right? Because I unplugged the last mic I had in and plugged in a new mic. I didn't change the settings over yet. So it should be better now. Let me know in the chat if it sounds better. Wow, amazing. Thanks, Mel. Is that for the camera? Okay. So yeah, this is a brand new Shure SM7, whatever, SM7B. It's top of the line shit right here. So that's not the feedback you want after paying for one of these things. You don't want to hear it's crackling. That's the last thing you want to hear. But I figured it's because of the settings. So how does that sound? Is that better? Good. All right. And I just want to thank everyone who's on my Patreon right now, because I wouldn't be buying equipment like this if it wasn't for people who are invested in me, joining the Patreon and the memberships and stuff. All that money I just put right back into this so I can have better quality, so I can make better videos. And as long as the people are still joining my Patreon and joining memberships, I'll continue to do that. I'm never going to stop increasing the quality of the whatever I can do to make it better. But yeah, so I got a new light too. I don't know if you guys can tell. It's like flickering. The light has a setting. It's like fireplace mode. It looks like I'm in front of a fire, doesn't it? It's like flickering on and off. Barely can tell, but I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, we got some new equipment, new camera. The lens is pretty close up. I'm not gonna lie. You're not getting any, like the last setting I had with the books. There's no point in having that with this lens. With this lens, you're just going just a regular background like this. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about this setting right here for live videos? Just as nice and personal, in your face type of thing, you know. I hope the mic sounds good. But then I got a blue light right here, so you can see a little blue. You know, I'm messing around with some stuff, you know, changing some things up. What better time to do it on the day you hit 40,000? You know what I mean? But I have to thank Derek Lambert, first of all. Obviously, everyone knows that. I mean, Derek really paved the way for me when I started off. He's one of the first people I interviewed on my channel. And I've been keeping in touch, and he's been kind of guiding me throughout this whole process. Melody, who's been here since the beginning, who's joined the membership, and who else? Captain Dadpool, of course. Captain Dadpool, Graham Pong, yes, Dr. Cheryl, Pragmatic Crystal. Let's see, who else is here? Kip, Dr. Kip. Dr. Kip's been there, one of the first people I interviewed as well. Chthonius, Ariel, who's been on this, who's helped me host many times. Can't forget about Ariel. I know I've seen more people than that. There's a lot of people here. Oh, Caterpillar, of course, Caterpillar. Thank you, of course. Been there since the beginning. Always hanging around, jumping in and out of my chats and checking in on me and stuff, you know. Thank you for everybody that's here. Ken Scaletta, that's a name I see a lot. Everyone that's commenting, constantly see. Max the Confessor, you've really been helping me out, especially lately. You know, I can't even express how thankful I am for you. Gaius Julius Windex is always in the chat. And I think you're on my Patreon, but if not, then either way, thank you. And thank you for the huge super chat. Really, really appreciate that. Always good to see you here too. I'm having fun. Like this channel, I'm having fun. I'm digging into the things that I really enjoy. I came out of a fundamentalist Christian church and I saw that culture for what it is and with the effect that it has on society as a whole, and how that's still that's not dying out. That's, if anything, look at people like Andrew Tate's and all those people. That's a growing culture in our world. So there's this channel, what Derek does, what Dr. Kip does, what Digital Hammurabi does. Like, this is important work to set the record straight and bring the truth. You know what I mean? Because a lot of misinformation can lead to like really horrible shit for a lot of people. For a lot of people who get ostracized by it's not just religions, but like the type of people who use religion as a weapon to be bigots, to be shitty people in the name of some sort of deity. So that's, I don't know. Hopefully that made sense. Deep Drinks, thank you for the podcast. Thanks for the super chat. Yeah, the man, the myth, the legend. It's been great becoming friends, you badass mother effa. Way more collaborations to come. Here's to another 40K. Absolutely. Let's obtain full gnosis. Ooh. Yeah, man. I love coming on your channel. That was good. You've been hustling lately too. I think you'll be at 40K pretty soon too. But yeah, I want to keep going. I'm gonna hit. You know, I have my eyes on 100K because they give you that little check mark. So I want to keep trying and see what happens. Maybe it doesn't happen, but I'll definitely shoot for that. You know, they always say shoot for the moon. And if you don't reach the moon, at least you'll be up in the sky somewhere. So you know, you might not make it to the moon, but at least you made it somewhere. You know. So drawing down the stars. What's up, Snappy? Thanks for the super chat. By the way, go and subscribe to Drawing Down the Stars. Just type in Drawing Down the Stars on YouTube. It'll come right up. Hit the subscribe button. Much love. Thank you for all the knowledge, entertainment, and support. You and Lady Babylon are the best channels on YouTube. Here's to 100K. I got to admit, Lady Babylon is the one. It's just such a one in a lifetime experience to watch because Amon is a real scholar. He's not just some hermit mystic. He's a real scholar who knows the languages. He could speak it fluently. He could, if Amon got sent back to the year 200 BCE, he would be able to talk and like hear and listen to people. He would be able to understand. Like he would. I'm not saying like, because that's a whole different. But like he'd be better off than we would be. That's for sure. He would be he'd be able to like hang out and listen and talk. He'd be, because he knows that classical Greek tongue better than anyone that I know, actually. Honestly, better than anyone that I know. And so when he says some shit, I'm listening. I'm listening to what he's saying. I think he's a very valuable resource for digging into these cults. For real. Like, he's the real deal. People like him and Ruck get a bad rap, but they ultimately get vindicated by their work. They really do, and it's awesome to see that. $10. Thank you, Tux, for the $10. 40K, bitches. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Dr. Cheryl. You're doing great work. Keep it up. and we'll keep promoting your. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Every time you share this out to Twitter, I see it, and I'm so thankful for the academics that I can like keep a dialogue with, like, because I'm just someone who's interested, who came from a certain place, the church and all that, and I do my fair share of reading primary sources because of the academics who translate it. So this is actually, I just thought of something that's important. They were saying that the first translation of any classical text was in like the 1920s or 30s, but it was in the 20th century. I can't remember when, and it was Homer's Iliad. So up until the 20th century, people like me didn't read classical text. They were in Greek, they were in Coptic, they were in Hebrew, they were in wherever language they were in that language. It's not until recently where you can go and buy an Oxford Classic translation for $10 on Amazon. You can read Apuleius, Pindar, Suetonius, Ovid, Diogenes, Psellus, Lucian. I can just read them all for $10 on Amazon. And this is a new thing. This is ultimately a new thing that any layperson can just go and read the text, because academics before me came and laid down these paths and they translated these texts. I couldn't do that. I can't translate Greek text, but people could. And now we have a whole knowledge base of ancient texts that are translated. And there's nothing better for counter apologetics than to know the sources. Absolutely. The sources destroys apologetics, because the sources don't lie. The sources are the sources. You can't lie about that. We can read the sources, and the sources are the sources. So that's why the academics are such a big deal for me. That's why I loved interviewing scholars on this stuff, because where would we be without that? So thank you for that. I think there was one more. No, that's super chat. But yeah, I wanted to promote something real quick. I have a second channel that I started, Late Night Gnosis. Someone has helped me make this channel right now, and they're doing a really good job of helping me put out videos every day for this channel. That person does want to remain anonymous at this moment, so I won't. Otherwise, I'd be promoting that person, but that person chose to stay anonymous, and I will respect that. But you know who you are, and you're really doing some good work for me. This channel's growing quickly, actually. What is it at? 438 subs. Damn, I thought it's going quicker than this channel did. What's going on, James? Chthonius, thanks for the super chat. Congrats on 40K. You've helped me expand my mind, and thanks to you, I found Amon and Snappy. Y'all are friends that I cherish. You speak beautiful things. I appreciate that. I appreciate it a lot. Chthonius, you were talking to me about how you used to be a fundamentalist Christian too. And, it's just kind of, I just sort of touched on this a little bit, is that there's more people. I feel like there's more, like there's certain people who they're sort of attracted to the mystical ways, like the mystic rites and religion, and they're very spiritual people just by nature. That's just how some people are. And so I feel like for people like that, the best way to approach is to say, look, in the ancient world, there's a lot of different paths of religion that aren't just Christianity or, Islam, or like there's a lot of different things that, like, let's look at that stuff. You might find something more interesting than Baptist Westboro Baptist Church or whatever. You might find something more, So I don't know. I think there's something about that, something about digging into the ancient sources, that just something about doing that process that makes Christianity just look stale. and like it's just another religion based, like just like it's no different than on these other religions, like the Eleusinian mysteries, or the Hermetic religion, like all these other religions that have their own unique things about them, but they all have this same sort of this sort of it's like system that they have in common. I don't know how to describe that. Like there's a way that religions are done. There's a sort of process, if that makes sense. Like there's initiation rites, there's the rites involved at the ceremonies, there's the festivals every year, there's this priesthoods, there's the different, and they're all set up in a certain way where there's not much, like most religions have overlap with other religions. Like even in the Old Testament, everyone looks at Judaism as like this thing in its own league, and it's just all by itself, and all these other pagans are all in the same categories, and then Judaism is by itself. But like when you look at the ancient world, you'll see that, and I'll just give you an example. Like in Deuteronomy and Leviticus, there's like it tells you how the priests are supposed to do certain things. Like, okay, take the bull in and slaughter the bull and sprinkle the blood 7 times on the horns of the altar. And it's like, okay, that's how they do their sacrifice. But then you look into these other pagan, I hate, like that's not a real word, by the way. That's like a derogatory term that later on Christians used to describe polytheists, but nobody called themselves pagans. But anyways, just for the sake of argument, the pagans did the same stuff. They had the same sort of rituals and rites and same sort of sacrifices, and they celebrated their holidays at the same times of the year, usually during the vernal equinoxes or the solstices. And once you realize that, there's something that takes the power. It's something about that just takes all the power away from some of the more harmful ideologies. It just does, you know? I thought the translation started late in the. Yeah, no, I'm talking about like penguin. So that's a good question, Ariel. So that's what you're obviously the translations started way before, but like Penguin produced their first translation of Homer's Iliad in like the 19s, I don't know, whatever. And those are mass produced for people just to read, and they're not like sitting in a library for like scholars. You know what I mean? So that's a huge thing. This is like 100 years ago, you didn't have someone like me wouldn't have a library with 100 texts from the ancient world sitting right there. Like that just wasn't a thing. That's just a recent thing. Has Neil had a scholar talk about terms termagant or tervagant yet? I don't know what that is. Let's look it up. Termagant? In the Middle Ages, here I might as well share my screen so people. I'm looking at Wikipedia, but whatever. In the Middle Ages, was given to a god which European Christians believed Muslims worshipped. The word is used in modern English to mean violent, outbearing, or overbearing, turbulent, brawling, quarrelsome woman. A virago, shrew vixen. In the past, the word could be applied to any person. Origin of the concept. European literature from the Middle Ages often referred to Muslims as pagans. Yeah, they called everyone pagans. Zoroastrians were pagans. Everyone was pagans, except for Jews, which is kind of interesting because it's like the grandfather religion of the Muslims and the Jew and the Christians. Even the Muslims called them people of the book. Like all the people of the book are gonna have a place in paradise. Anyways, the origin of the name termagant. I'm probably saying that wrong, but this is my first time ever reading it. is unknown and does not seem to derive from any actual aspect of Muslim belief or practice, wildly distorted. In the 19th century, Walter William Skeat speculated that the name was originally Triviganti, thrice wandering, a reference to the moon because the Islamic use of the crescent moon imagery. Interesting. It's my first time ever hearing about this. I know for some reason it's making me think of Baphomet, because in the Christian Sibylline books, the later ones, the Middle Ages version, they have this deity called the Baphomet, and it's basically, they say it's like Muhammad, but the words Baphomet, and so they're like it's the Muslim Antichrist. The Antichrist, which is Muhammad, is the Baphomet, but somehow the Baphomet becomes the god that the Crusaders, or like the not the Crusaders, but the Teutonic Order worship, and it gets really crazy. Like the Middle Ages and medieval times were weird. Like there's so much weird shit going on that nobody really talks about. Oh, she said if you scroll down, it talks about Baphomet. Yeah, so I kind of I don't know why I knew there was going to be something about that, because that's the way they portrayed the Muslims, as the Antichrist. Let's see. Where is it? Let's see. Baphomet. In Akhitan literature, the name Muhammad was corrupted as Baphomet. Yeah. Forming the basis for the legendary Baphomet at different times in the ideal Sabbatic goat and a key in conspiracy theories. Isn't it amazing how no matter what your worldview is, doesn't matter what it is, whatever your opponent is the devil, is the diablos, is the opposer, the accuser. That term becomes so vague. It just becomes whatever you're against. So the Catholic Church, that's the Church of Satan. That's what the that's what the Protestants and the evangelicals say. The Catholic Church is the Church of Satan. And then the Catholics will say, I don't know, the Jews are Satan. The Jews are the religion of Satan. Or, it doesn't matter. The Muslims probably say Christians are the satanic ones or something. That evil trinity, that's pagan. That's Satan. Ariel says the Atbesh cipher applied to bf wum in the Hebrew turns into sa wa fa ya. Huh. Interesting. So, the accuser becomes all chthonic deities, especially Saturn and Venus. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's definitely true. So I was going to talk about something I just wanted to keep it casual today. I wasn't even going to go live, but then I was like, you know what? I just hit 40K and I want to, just do a casual, let's just read the comments and just do what everyone wants. Like, just let you guys decide. Look, I'll look stuff up if you want me to look stuff up. I don't care. But I wanted to talk about how I realized something recently, that the progressive movement is not really winning. I hate to say that. I thought it was. When recently when I started to change my own worldview, I sort of assumed that I was part of a larger movement of people coming out of fundamentalism and changing and looking at the world differently. And I thought that more people were like me, becoming progressives. But recently I've realized that there's a strong push in the other direction with the Andrew Tates and people like, what's that? I can't remember his name right now, but like we had like the Kanye West thing, just Kanye West going on Alex Jones and saying I like Hitler. The response to that was weird. If you like went on Twitter and really did some digging and see how people responded to that, it's kind of shocking. There's a lot of people who were like, yeah, Kanye's not afraid to actually say what's on everyone's minds. That's on your mind? You were thinking that Hitler was a good dude? Like, are we watching the same video? Like, I saw that video and my reaction was he's having a mental breakdown. I didn't take him seriously. But little did I know, people were watching that video and they thought like this is serious to them. Like Kanye was speaking truth to some people. People are watching Kanye and saying, finally, someone thinks like I think. And that's a real thing. I'm not just like, you can say I'm overreacting, but like, challenge me on it. There's a lot of pushing for like real conservative, borderline fascist mindsets. People really want this world of like women saying in the kitchen, there's only two genders, everybody, the man goes out and he's the go-getter, and everyone, and men have to be this like, go to the gym and get buff and work, be boxer, be a fighter, go to watch MMA, and women need to just sit there and cook our food. And you might think I'm being a little like too much or overreacting, but like that's really like there's really a push for that right now. There's a real strong presence of people pushing for this. Recently I found this channel. I was watching Destiny. I don't know, I'm scrolling through the internet. I'll check out Vosh and Destiny and all those like debate bro people sometimes. And so he was doing a review of this channel. It's this guy. I don't know if you guys know who this is. And this dude is just coming out swinging, like saying the most homophobic shit you'll ever see in your life, and just not caring, and he's got a following. Like, this is the thing. You would think someone like this would just be like, just randomly have like 10 people watching him or something. He's got 109,000 subscribers. And he's obviously a fundamentalist Christian. He calls himself the saint and the sinner. And like, I'll just give you, let's just watch this video for a second, and we'll talk about it.
4 rules for talking to women. And the first question you should ask yourself is, Marquette, why are you qualified to teach me?
Under the Parisian sky where worries die, reminiscing about last night when I was swimming in excessiveness, decadence, opulence, women walking.
So right off the bat, the message is, I know about women because, look, here's me getting with women. So I know all about women. Like, okay, great start, Dan. Great start. Let's hear it.
With confidence toward men who speak in compliments, an occasion for bourgeois conversation, underlying temptation, awaiting romance. We dance, anticipating the chance to turn a glance into searching hands.
So first and foremost, with talking to women is just like any other pursuit in life. Practice is going to make you better. It's not going to make you perfect. It's going to make you better. The number one thing is that you should always be spitting game. As any other pursuit in life, you must get started. That's the hardest part. So go ahead and get started and do your best until you can do better. So this video is not about how to.
By the way, James, you made that joke, and I'm not like, please don't take this the wrong way, but like, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he was attracted to men, because, and I don't mean that in like a bad way, like, oh, that's such a horrible. I mean that in like, this dude comes off like a hypocrite, because some of the stuff that I was watching when Destiny was reviewing him, and he was talking about how he was just saying some disgusting shit about people who are gay, like just talking like the worst thing you can possibly like. But the way he came off, it made me think like, is this what he believes? Like, is he gay? Like, I'm just saying, because like he was so over the top with it that I couldn't help but to think like, maybe he's dealing with some inner shit that as a Christian he's not allowed to be like, and he has to like overcompensate for it. So that's why you get all these rules of talking to women type shit. But let's keep playing for a second. I haven't seen this video yet. This is my first time. This is my natural reaction to it.
To spit the game. It's about 4 ways you can start spitting the game. And so we're talking about number 1, rule. Talk to women constantly. Rule number 2, proceed like a fearless lunatic. Because at the end of the day, there is nothing less seductive than doubt. If a bitch sees that you're doubtful,
Whoa,
that you don't believe.
Whoa, is that a Christian thing to do? Just call women like, did I hear that wrong?
At the end of the day, there is nothing less seductive than doubt. If a bitch sees that you're doubtful, that you don't believe in yourself, she's not going to believe in you.
He just doesn't care. And this is the type of people that are finding huge audiences right now. I'm not like, this is a big deal right now.
Go forward like a fearless lunatic. Don't ever tell yourself no. You go in there like you're going to win. And I can assure you that persistence overcomes resistance if you apply it correctly.
That's a good point.
Never show doubt, never show fear, never sweat.
That's a good point. That is kind of the Christian way. You know, he did call the Syrophoenician woman, and in the Greek, that word for dog was in the female. So that's literally he called her a bitch in the text. So that's true.
Keep it smooth and keep it going, most importantly. Number 3, this is absolutely genius. And most people don't think of it. Plant your seed in fertile ground. And what I mean by that is rule number 1, yes, always be spitting. When I say plant your seed in fertile ground, that means go into the environments and approach women where it's most advantageous for you.
This is another reason why I think there's something going on with him and deep down, because the way he's talking about women is like this, like different species, different, like they're aliens. They're like, you have to approach them like you're talking about hunting or something. You have to approach the deer really quietly, making sure they don't hear you rustling in like the way he's talking about it is like, this is like some like huge ordeal. That's, oh my God, this is secret knowledge. No one knows this but me. But like, it's fucking women, bro. Like, they're human. They're like, what? I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about that. That just sounds weird to me the way he's describing it.
Here's a couple places where it's going to be very hard to convert women. Number 1, the club. In the club, you have a lot of thirsty cats in there spitting game at women constantly. They don't even take you seriously because they're getting such a high volume. And they're having...
Yeah, and this is part of the reason why I'm talking about this right now, is because this is why I'm like starting to realize that the progressive movement's not winning. It's not. And when I had Chrissy on my channel a couple of weeks ago, I had to delete 50, 60 comments from people just writing the most disgusting, hateful shit that I've ever seen in my entire life. It blew my mind. Like, even if someone felt that way, like maybe they felt that way for some reason. I don't know. They're just bigots for whatever reason. They live in a weird family that's, they grew up, whatever. But the fact that they had to get online and write the comment and press enter, and there was like 50 people doing this shit, like that to me was like a wake up. It was a wake up moment for me. Like, shit's not getting that better. It really isn't. I hate to sound like all doom and gloom and like be a downer, but like, it's kind of true though. It is. Like, it's kind of, there's a big push for like bigot shit right now. It's just like, I don't know what it is, but it's real. It is.
And to shut down cats left and right. So you're just another person hopping up in their face. You're not unique and you're expected. You like to catch a bitch off guard. You heard me. But when you go into a bar.
How lame was that? I just cringed so hard when I heard that. That was the cringiest shit I've ever heard in my entire life.
Left and right. So you're just another person hopping up in their face. You're not unique and you're expected. You like to catch a bitch off guard. You heard me. But when you go into a bar, basically it's too loud
That
to
was
have a
so
proper
fucking
conversation.
cringe, dude.
You can't hear her. She can't hear you. How do you expect to throw the game in her ear? And if you're going to go in the bar and ask her, like, hey, let's step outside on the patio to talk,
I have no idea. I just found out who this guy was. I would bet right now, I'd throw $20,000 on it that this dude's single. I would bet $20,000 right now. And if he's not single, he's probably in a really horrible relationship where there's some sort of reason why they can't leave. And it's like, maybe there's a child involved and it's just not good. Like, this dude is not having good relationships. I'm betting that. I can't, like, I don't know him or anything. I'm just saying, from the outside looking in, that's my first, that's what comes. This dude seems like he's got some problems with women. Like, and ironically, he's making videos on how to get women. Like, it's crazy how that works.
you're asking her to give you a lot of credit straight off top, meaning separate from her friends, walk to a secluded area. It's just too much goddamn work. And hey, here's the more important part. If you really want to catch you a high quality bitch, a bar and a club.
Oh my God, the cringe is too strong, man. I don't know if I can continue. Like, it's like cancerous cringe coming from this dude, radiating from him. The cringe is just, the levels are too high.
Are the very worst places to find them. That's where you're finding women who are basically going out to get attention. Women who either are out with a bunch of girlfriends and they got a boyfriend and they just want to get attention. Aisha Curry's. Yo, and shout out to my college students, cats getting a good education. Side note, if you're in college, get a valuable degree, accounting, computer engineering. Don't major in communications and African American studies. It ain't gonna get you paid, man. Hey, I'm just giving out game generally. I just want y'all to win. But I remember when I was in college, every now and then I'll be in the library, I see a bad bitch, try to catch her slipping.
What the fuck is wrong with this dude? Why does he keep saying it like that? That's like, that makes me like, okay. Should I say this or not? Like, when I hear someone talk like that, it makes me think, it makes me wonder where they're at, like, in their sexuality. Cause, like, bad bitch, like, who talks like that? What is he? What, is this like a meme? Is this like some inside joke that I don't get? Because it's coming off as real cringe right now. It's coming off real cringe right now.
I say I convert about 60% of the time. Now, that's not hard to do when you're a black.
Yeah, right. That is a fucking lie. That is the biggest lie I've ever heard in my entire life. You can just, anyone who's watching can know this dude's full of shit right now.
Guy at Berkeley, and most of the people are turbo nerds, right? But in all reality, it's a very difficult game because in a library, what is a chick trying to do? Have some silence, have some focus, not on you, on her work. So that's a terrible place to try to spit game at a chick. You need to plant your seed in fertile ground. Another place I used to think was great, the grocery store. Man, I used to be in Kroger, man, belling down the aisle, see a chick looking at some rice-a-roni, trying to walk up on her, drop a little bit of game on her. It's a no-go, man. You don't have a lot to base your comment.
Dude, that was so bad. That was just so cringe right there. Lev is talking about my camera, so I'm going to show it off a little bit. Love the camera. Looking forward to the BreakTheRules.tv stream with Ariel Pink on the Book of Revelation this Friday. Yes. Thanks for inviting me, by the way. I grew up as a big fan of, well, not grew up. Ariel Pink's kind of, what is that, 2010s, right? But Ariel Pink is huge. And like everyone kind of got canceled for being a Trump fan. It is what it is. That's democracy. But I still, I'm like, people are gonna not agree with me on this, and I feel you on every cent. But Ariel Pink is just a character that I personally, I just kind of, I get him. I don't know what it is. Like, he's he's consistent. He's a little weird. I don't think of him as like for example, the guy that I'm reviewing right now. I don't think of him as someone like that. I just think he likes to be different. He likes to be an outsider. So I really look forward to talking to him, especially about something like Book of Revelation, something that I'm like well read on or interested in as well. So I'm looking forward to talking to Ariel Pink about Revelation. It's going to be kind of interesting. So yeah, thanks for inviting me for that. Yeah, Ariel Pink was a big deal for a while. Like Rolling Stone magazine, like Ariel Pink. It's kind of crazy how you can go from being that high to that. I don't know, whatever. That's another topic. But yeah, Eric, Lev, thanks for inviting me to that. I appreciate that. I really do. I'm gonna play some more of this
conversation on. What you gonna walk up on a bitch and be like, oh, I see you drink soy milk. Me too. I'm in a grocery store. She's on the move, right? If you catch the bitch buying a bagel, she's not about to be standing there in the bagel aisle for 10 minutes, like trying to figure out which bagel. Like, oh, do I want the raisins or the sesame seeds? No, man, she's gonna grab that bagel, toss it in her cart, and go on about her business. That's why that's not fertile ground, because she's on the move. So we finally arrived. What are the best places to approach a woman? Number one, mutual friends. Mutual friends will bring in an abundance. Oh, and here's a caveat, player. If you're a high quality person, birds of a feather flock.
Oh my God, this is so cringe.
Together. So that means that your friends are high quality, and your high quality friends, be the male or female, will bring.
Let's see what else. Oh, he's live right now. Let's see what he's talking about.
Box braids. But if you're going to wear box braids, I'm going to need them joints to be fresh. You got some nappy ass roots, some nappy ass braids, and
he's got 566 people watching right now. He's got 5 times more than I do. And this is the shit. And you just heard the shit that he was talking. Like, that's a litmus test right there to see where people are at right now. They're hungry for shit like this. It's crazy.
Appreciate that whatsoever. How dare you go on television like that? Okay, that's number one. But hey, you get like that anyways. And also just make sure you change them, because here's one of my concerns. If you're gonna wear your braids for however long you wear them, and that means you ain't washing your hair, I don't feel good about that, love. I just don't feel like it's clean. Okay, carry on.
Like right there, that comment about the hair, there's something off about this dude, man. There's something off about this dude. I think he's got some issues deep down inside that he doesn't want to deal with. That's how it comes off. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and psychoanalyze him that much, but every 5 minutes of hearing him talk is just red flags after red flags.
Dating as a Black person is an experience in and of itself, and
what does that mean? Why do we even let these people talk? Go ahead.
Something that always comes up is interracial relationships. So I wanted to get my friends' opinions on that topic. So I asked them, and this is what they had to say. What is your opinion on
First off, they didn't went straight to the red bone girl that looked like she is the result of interracial dating. You dig? America's a funny place, but I think everybody watching is like, yeah, I'll be.
Wow, that's a weird thing to think about first. Like when you're, I don't know, whatever.
Beat that down. Anyways, carrying on. Let's see what Shorty got to say. She has some curiously shaped shoulders.
Captain Call, thank you for the super
definitely
chat. Appreciate
a biological female. She has like no trap muscle whatsoever. It just goes like straight across, right? Is that what that called? The trapezius? Is it called the trapezius?
Wow, that's the first thing he's really thinking about.
Trapezius.
If it's a biological female or not.
Trapezius. I'm deep. That's what's up. Carrying on.
Interracial relationships.
I have a lot of opinions. Whatever floats your boat.
Oh, this boy looked like he had some D's floated up his boat. Look at this boy right here.
I have a lot of opinions. Whatever.
Look at this boy right here. He came.
I don't know. I think I had enough of this dude. World religions are a control system used to manipulate, divide, and farm humanity by negative parasitic entities, archons. How do we exit the cave? Yeah. How do we exit the cave? It's the question, right? That's the question. But it's a good question to be asking. I think the fact that you're asking that question means you're on the right. You're thinking the right things. You're on the right trajectory. You know, you're thinking about, because, you know, Derek always uses the analogy of Plato's cave, and that's what a lot of these harmful cults are. It's just people in the cave that want to be told. They want to be told that everything, you're chosen. You're the one that's going to make it to this promised land, and everyone else is outsider. They're different. You're the chosen one. You were selected in the beginning to be the messenger of this, whatever, you know, fill in the blank, you know, whatever, Jehovah or Jesus, whatever. And they want to be told that. They don't want to be told that it's not true, because then they're not chosen anymore. Why would you not want to be chosen? Think about it. What's better? To be chosen and have eternal life and be never have to worry about dying or not existing, or to face reality and say you're not even better than the ant that you stepped on. You're just another living animal on this planet through evolution. That's not fun. There's nothing chosen about that. It's terrifying for some people. So they want to, that's the whole point of the pastor. The pastor has this advantage. Let me get rid of this guy. I'm done with him. The pastor has this advantage over the people that he speaks with. A pastor has the advantage that the people that they're speaking to wants to hear it. You go to your church to get the word, right? To get that. You're not going to church to like debate these ideas and like test out if this is true, or you're not going there to confirm or like deny or anything. You're going there to reaffirm what you already want to be true. That's the whole point. The pastor sits there and tells you, and this is part of the reason why I left, because I started to challenge some of this stuff. For example, I went to the church that I was going to was a King James only church. The King James Bible is perfect. It's pure. It's handed down by God in the year 1611, and it was inspired in the English tongue. It's the only English tongue Bible that's inspired by. And you know, I remember, I forgot who it was, but somehow I saw a video by Bart Ehrman, and it was about what's the problems with the King James. Let's see if I can find that video. It's the problems with the King James. It's by Bart Ehrman. It's an older video. And he breaks it down. Like he breaks it down to the point where it's like undeniable. Here it is. This is the one. Like there's
everything you wish for. Your site traffic is
either Bart's lying or like somebody's lying. Either my church is lying or Bart's lying. And I remember saying I need to get to the bottom of this.
The Christian Old Testament, the Jewish Bible, is written in Hebrew, and the New Testament is written in Greek. But throughout the history of the Western Church, the Bible that people used was the Latin translation that had been done back in the 4th century, starting with translated,
Here we go.
Virgin shall conceive. That gets quoted in the New Testament by the Gospel of Matthew as a reference to Jesus. A virgin shall conceive and bear a son, you shall call him Emmanuel. In the book of Matthew, in the New Testament, quoting Isaiah chapter 7. Now, this is complicated, but when Matthew is quoting Isaiah, he's not quoting the Hebrew of Isaiah, he's quoting the ancient Greek translation of Isaiah, which does use the word virgin. But the Hebrew Bible, that is the base for the Greek translation and for the King James Version, doesn't say virgin. In the Hebrew Bible, it says a young woman has conceived,
yes,
and will bear a son.
It's so funny how I skipped right to that part by chance, because that was the part that shocked me the most. I remember being like, wait a minute. And I looked up the King James. A virgin shall be conceived. Okay. And then I actually have, let's see if I have it behind right here. I actually ordered this. After watching this video, I ordered this text right here. It's an interlineary Bible. It has the Masoretic text for Hebrew in the Old Testament. It has the Greek New Testament, the Textus Receptus. And it has like all the variations, and there's notes and stuff. And so I looked up and I wanted to check into, like, is Bart Ehrman, is he lying? Is he one of those satanic scholars that my pastor warned me about? But these are things that you are objectively can be checked. Like there's no, a text is, there's no, like, you can't, it's not an opinion. Like this is something I can just go and look up and go to the manuscript translations and evidence and check everything. Like this is what I was starting to do even as a Christian. I started doing this. And I remember just being like, holy shit. And all these problems with the King James, all these verses that were added. And so back to my original point was, the pastor tells you what you want to hear. They don't tell you the truth. They don't tell you facts. They don't tell you there's issues with this. There's issues with that. No, they just tell you everything's perfect. You're chosen. Everything's great. And so one of the things that at a King James only church that they tell you is that all these other English Bibles take verses out. And I'm thinking, why would they take verses out? That's got to be, there's something going on. What's there to hide? This is the word of God. Why would you take stuff out? So I believed them. I was like, it's the King James is the only good one. All the other ones take NIV, they take verses out. It wasn't until I started paying attention to the scholars that I realized that the King James is adding verses that came in the 16th century. They're adding verses from Latin manuscripts that don't exist in the Greek. And then they're changing words that aren't virgin into virgin. So I started checking all this stuff up. And I remember one of the last days I went to my church, I went to my pastor and asked him about this. And he straight up just lied to me cold to my face. Just to get out of it. Instead of dealing with it and saying, yeah, you got a point there. I mean, this, let's not make a big deal out of it. Yeah, okay, you're right. Instead, he said, this is what he said to me. No, there was a manuscript. We just don't have it anymore. Huh? What do you mean? And I go, well, how do you know that? He said, if it's in the King James Bible, then there must have been a manuscript because the King James Bible is perfect. He does that. It's the same precept garbage shit that you hear. King James Bible is perfect. Therefore, it had to be any manuscripts that don't exist had to have existed because the King James Bible is perfect. It's a circular argument that makes no sense at all. So this is what he would say. The King James Bible is perfect because it follows the manuscripts that were brought to us by the Greeks. Oh, interesting. Yeah. All these other Bibles are bad because they don't follow the manuscripts. Oh, cool. Yeah. And then when I point to, oh, wait a minute, what about this verse? There's no manuscripts that say this. Oh, but there has to have been manuscripts that we lost because the King James Bible is perfect. Therefore, there must have been manuscripts. What? Circular argument, the same shit you hear with every other argument you get from precept people. It's perfect because we said it was. So if we said it's perfect, it has to be perfect. No matter what you throw at me, it's perfect. I don't care what you throw at me. And that's what happened. So I remember dealing with that and being like, I'm at a fake church right now that thinks they have the truth and they don't. Instead of leaving the church completely after that, you of course you don't drop your religion right away from finding out something's wrong with the Bible. You go to the next check. I went to a different church for a few months after that, but until I finally left. John Gayer, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Yeah, so I ended up going to a speaking in tongues church. I found a church that was did the speaking in tongues because I was like, you know what? Forget it. Who cares about all this King James English crap? It's about the Spirit. That was my last stop in Christianity. It's about the Spirit. I got to find the Spirit. So I found this church that was Spanish and English, and they did the speaking in tongues. Everybody was just blah, 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 and we would get crazy. It was actually not gonna lie, it was a good time. So I got baptized there. In fact, I'm gonna show you guys a video real quick. This was my first video that I launched to Gnostic Informant, but it also shows you my last day in church. So the hell. Hold on, I think you can hear people doing tongues in the background. Listen carefully. Listen carefully. can't tell because of the music. So that was my last day in church. You might be thinking, wait a minute, your last day in church was getting baptized? Yeah. I was already baptized before that. But I remember thinking, I drove to church that day saying, because I was losing my faith. And I remember thinking to myself, this has to be, if it's not true, then there's no point to live. That's just where I was at the time. I don't think that way anymore. But I remember thinking to myself, if this is not true, there's no point to live. This has to be true. And I remember I was sitting there praying, going, please, please bring that spirit back that I had when I was in prison, when I was reading the Bible in prison. Bring that back. I need that spirit back. And I went and I was like, let me get baptized. I'm going to get rebaptized into a new church. Let's get the spirit back. And I remember after that, after I got out of there and I went back and I dried off and I put my clothes back on. And I remember the feeling, the feeling was like, I don't believe anymore. I don't believe this anymore. And I left and then never went back. That was the last time I went to church. It was that day what you just saw in that video. And so, by the way, I don't know, there's some weird people in the chat, like ABC. I don't know who you are, but if the mods don't like you, then sorry, deal with it. But you sound pretty weird right now. But anyways, so yeah, that's where I was at. And then I went into Gnosticism. And I remember thinking the Gnostics were the real deal because they understood. They understood this problem of evil that I knew was when I'm reading the text. And I'm thinking, Elijah was able to send she-bears and to kill children because they call them baldy. I go, what God is it? That can't be a good God. That doesn't. And I remember just thinking, like, this world is just so, like, everybody has to eat a living thing to survive. Even plants are living organisms. But, like, you have to, a lion has to go and hunt and eat and kill and murder to survive. This is a world that does not, if this was a designed world, whoever designed it is sadistic and insane to make a world where people have to go out and find an animal and kill it and while it's crying and suffering and eating it while it's alive. That's what animals do in the nature. I mean, even down to the micro level, organisms are just eating more organisms. That's just how, this is just the universe that we're in. It just came out this way. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, there's no way a creator could put this together this way. And then the Gnostics really spoke to me because it was like, yeah, we get this. We understand why it's this way because of this wicked creator. And there's a better creator above that creator. And he's the one that's going to save us from this other creator. All those other people that believe in this evil creator, they're the ones that are doomed. And I remember being like, there it is. That's the secret. The secret is that's the wicked God, and everyone who follows that God is doomed. And I got to follow the better one. So I did that for a while. But ultimately, I just decided that some things that we just don't know. And it just doesn't seem, I don't know. Ultimately, I just ended up thinking that religion itself has many flaws. Maybe we're just not meant to know where we came from. We don't know. No one knows why is there something rather than nothing? That's the question. It really is the question. So, I don't know. Then after the Gnostic phase, I delved into started learning about these ancient Greek pagans and ancient Hindu pagans, and I don't know. Now I'm just at a place where I really enjoy learning about these ancient traditions, and I don't have any faith in any of them. I'm not choosing any particular team to be on, because once you do that, you create this mindset where you will trick yourself. You will bend the truth in any way you need to make it true. It's just like this weird thing that happens when you decide that, oh, this religion must be the true one. So as soon as you say that, you are going to make yourself biased for that tradition, and you're just going to try to twist it and make it feel that like to me, it's better to just say none of them are real, none of them are true, taking a step back. And honestly, if there really was a creator that wanted you to believe in him, and that was the only thing you needed to do is just believe in him to get eternal life, I opt out of that. That would be so messed up that I would just, if like I was talking to Amon about this, if for some crazy reason we did find ourselves in front of this judgment and there was a lake of fire and this God says, I was trying to warn you when I sent that guy in the comment section, I was trying to warn you and you knew it. No, I didn't know it. You made it really unclear. That's what I would say. You made it really fucking unclear. And even if he said at that moment, I'll give you one more chance, I'd say, fuck you, piece of shit. Throw me in the fire. That's where I'm at right now. That's my mentality. You made this weird ass, crazy world where animals have to eat other animals to survive. I don't want a part of this shit. Throw me in the fire. But honestly, the odds of that being the case, I'm at the point where I just don't. It's zero. It's so evident that the biblical religion is just not true at all. The prophecies are all failed. Old Testament prophecies, New Testament prophecies, all failed. Not only that, some of this stuff is written later than they claim it. Like Daniel's claiming to be this prophet from the time of Cyrus, getting everything right. The 4 kingdoms. Oh my God, they predicted Alexander the Great. No, it's Hellenistic idioms. It's written in the 3rd or 2nd century BCE. He's using language that doesn't exist in his time. He's not even getting things right in his own time. He's getting things right in the time 200 years after that. He's getting, so it's like, and he says this Alexander's kingdom split up into 4. It didn't split up into 4. It split up into like 7 kingdoms. It became 4 kingdoms 200 years later, the time when we think he actually wrote it. So it's funny how you can see all the fuckery happening. That's why I love these scholars, dude. The scholars are they don't even realize like the work they're doing by shedding light and putting the truth out there. That this stuff is just not real. People need to know that. Like, I honestly think this is one of the most important things you can do is channels like this, like what Derek does, Digital Hammurabi does. It's because like behind all these bigot movements is usually some sort of like church or something, I'm trying to think of this one neo-Nazi, the one that was hanging out with maybe someone in the chat could help me out. There's this neo-Nazi who's hanging out with Alex Jones and Kanye. Can't remember his name right now, but he's a fundamentalist Christian. What do you know? What a surprise, right? Like you usually don't become that bigoted unless you have some like religious background that makes like the only person who has no excuse for their bigotry is someone like Dr. Bob. Just like makes no sense. Why what is it about this like bigot traditional worldview that is so appealing? And if you're not a Nick Fuentes, yes, Nick Fuentes, he's completely anti-Semitic, he's completely homophobic. By the way, when he was live, he shared his screen and somebody screenshotted that he was looking at tranny porn. Not that I care what he's looking at, but like the fact that he's talking shit about being homophobic, but at the same time he's enjoying that stuff. It just tells you who you're dealing with. Like these people have inner demons that they don't want to deal with. They have inner problems that they can't address. So they hide behind religion as like this thing to save them from themselves, basically. So yeah, Nick Fuentes, he thinks that the only way, this is what he said to, I forgot who he was talking to. He said the only way for America to come back is to everybody to be convert to Christianity, and anyone who's not a Christian needs to go. And so that's that's the type of people that are influential. I'm not just mentioning some random guy on the internet with five followers. He's got hundreds of thousands of followers. Hundreds of thousands of followers that are tuning in to listen to this guy. Listen to this guy do some homophobic rants and anti-Semitic rants, and it's in the name of Christianity. It really is. So, you know, and look, I'm all about religious freedom. I'm all about that. But I'm also not afraid to, like, I was watching a stream recently from, oh my God, why can't I think of her name right now? She's she's an ex-Muslim creator, and she had a really good panel on with some scholars, and they're discussing how there's a problem on the left with, you can't criticize Islam without looking like you're xenophobic. But how do you get around that when a lot of the culture in Islamic countries is like really problematic for people who are, for women, for LGBTQ people. And like you once you start talking about that, they're saying, oh, you're xenophobic. And like, how do you balance that out without coming off as someone who just because xenophobia is a real thing. So like, I'm all about like religious freedom and letting people have their traditions, and like letting people give people the benefit of the doubt that they're not fundamentalists. But like, sometimes I have to jump in and just criticize people for their beliefs, because those beliefs are affecting the world that we live in. So that's part of my channel, is to, like, some people think I go too far, like, against people of religions, like people who have religious beliefs. And I get that. I understand that's fair criticism, but that's not going to stop me, because I think the criticisms of those religions better outweigh the not criticizing them because you don't want to look xenophobic. I think that a lot of I think it's a challenge to sort of like walk that line. Don't get me wrong, because it's true. Like, I can make a video about Islam, about the Quran, about the things that are like the problems with the Quran or whatever. I can do that, and I can be as like precise as possible to not be xenophobic or not come off as hateful and bigoted. But somebody can use my video and then turn it around and then use it as in a bigoted way. So I'm well aware that that's a possibility. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Because that's honestly, like, I was thinking about that when I was listening to her talk about this, and she was saying one of the biggest problems that she encounters on her making her channel, because she's doing good work with like women leaving Islam, and she was talking about like a lot of the pushback is from the left, not the right, not the conservative right. The conservative right is like, yeah, we hate Islam too. The left is the ones that are like, hey, maybe you shouldn't criticize the Muslims that much because that's xenophobic. And she's like, I was forced to wear a hijab and I didn't want to. Like, don't you care? Like, isn't that something we should be focused on? But that's a real struggle right now. It's like, how do you criticize religion without coming off as being like bigoted? So lately, I just try to keep it real. I try to stay as polite as possible about it, but also I'm not going to hold back though. I think it's more important to call these hateful cults out. I think it's better, if that makes sense. Regressive left says that crap. Progressive left doesn't. I love that. Never heard that one yet. That's perfect though, because it's true. Because James, you're making a good point. Because there are people, I've noticed this, especially on Twitter. There are people who they say things because they know it's the right opinion, but not that they actually say it because it's their opinion. And so what you get because of that, you get people who are like, they're just like, they have all the right opinions and they judge anybody who strays from the right opinion. They sort of have to judge them real quick. Like, I know a few people like this, actually. I know quite a few people like this. And it's like this, it's always the same, it's always people who are like, look at me, I donated to this charity. Look, I'm going to share. Everyone needs to see that I donated to this charity. Everyone needs to see this. Like, great, cool. I appreciate that. You're donating to charity. That's great. But like, those are the type of people who are like, they're doing all the things so that they can be seen doing the right thing, not because they actually want to do the right thing. That's a real thing. So, you know, it's better. Honestly, it's better than being on the right. It's better than being like a bigot or something. But like, you still see that. You definitely see a lot of people like that. So I don't know. How do you deal with that? That's another thing. Virtue signaling, cancel culture types. You know, like I always the thing about cancel culture, because I was reading what's his name? Plutarch. I couldn't think of his name. Plutarch is writing about the Athens in like the 5th century BCE. And he's talking about someone who was ostracized. This is a democracy of the ancient world. And people get ostracized in democracies. So cancel culture is sort of like what democracy does. When people have the freedom to decide who they want to be, you know, who should be like prevalent and who isn't. That's part of democracy. So you get a lot of people who are, I don't know, it's like I'm being cancel cultured, like Dr. Bob is doing this. They're cancel culturing me. It's like, no, you're doing it yourself, dude. Like you're the one saying shit that people don't like, and now you have to, like, you're all about your free market until it's you that the free market kicks out. The free market is speaking right now, and they say they don't like you. That's cancel culture. But like, it's just it's like how do you, people use that term cancel culture when they don't want it to be, when they don't like it, but it's the free market when you like it. The free market just works itself out, guys. It's like, yeah, that's kind of like, you could say things, but people can respond too, you know? Yeah, it's consequences, you know? Now, at the same time, though, I think there should be a path to redemption for everybody. People should be able to change and come back from, like me, like I'd be a hypocrite. I'd be a hypocrite if I just said like, yeah, if you ever said anything on Twitter 10 years ago, you should be canceled. Like, yeah, no, I would be a hypocrite. I'd be done. I'd be gone. I'd be off the platform, because not just a few years ago, I was on that side for real. I've done my 180 turn in worldview. Honestly, probably it's kind of crazy actually how much I've changed in the last couple of years. So back to my story. After I left the church, went through Gnosticism, did a little pagan dabbling, and then I started this channel, and, you know, I went deep into like mythicism for a while. Like, there's no evidence that even existed. You know, I was like convinced by Carrier and other people. By the way, people who think I'm like I'm like biased against mythicists for some reason, I'm actually going to host one tomorrow night. Mike Lawrence. He's not an academic. And this is why I like Mike Lawrence. He's a mythicist. He has a really unique approach to why he's a mythicist. But he's completely honest and upfront. This is like you don't get this from mythicists ever. Most mythicists are like, academia, they're a bunch of liars and they're hiding the truth. They know Jesus doesn't exist, and it's all, you know, all these places are, you know, Duke Theological, and all these places are all biased against mythicists or whatever. But Mike Lawrence is like, you know what? I'm not an academic. I don't even know Koine Greek, and I don't even know Hebrew. I'm just he puts that up front right off the bat, admits it, say, I don't know shit. Here's what I think. Anyone who can do that, I appreciate that. I appreciate that honesty off the bat and say, I'm not an academic. I'm not an expert. I don't even know Koine Greek. I don't even know Hebrew. But here's my opinion. Here's what I think. All right, yeah, let's talk. Anybody who has that honesty up front is good in my book, honestly. So I'm having him on tomorrow night to talk about his book, 70. It's kind of interesting. I had him on before. It's been a while since I had him on, so I'm going to have him back on again just to refresh, get some people's thoughts on that. Get some super chats and some questions, some responses to it, and see what people think. I'm not sold by it. I don't think he's convincing, but I think it's interesting. It's an approach that I've never heard yet, and it's something along the lines of the Messiah comes 70 years before the temple falls, and there's this idea of the 70 weeks and Daniel, all this stuff. He has his own like ways of articulating it that you'll hear tomorrow if you tune in. But I'll have some questions at the end, and I'll probably push back a little bit, but I'm not gonna make it the debate or anything, because it's not that big of a deal, Yu-Woo, thank you for the super chat. Have you studied near-death experiences? One theory is that we're trapped, reincarnating forever, and having our memories wiped. Forever Conscious Research channel on YouTube studies this topic. I'll definitely check that out. That's definitely what the ancient Greeks thought. And the ancient Hindus thought this too. They thought that there was a reincarnation. The Hindus called it reincarnation, but the Greeks called it transmigration. And it's the idea that your soul is constantly being recycled, and this pretty wild stuff. I'll have to check out that channel, Conscious Research channel. Interesting. Yeah, near-death experiences. I don't know. You hear people talk about how they leave their body, have out-of-body experiences. I've had my fair share of psychedelic experiences, and I'll tell you what, DMT is in another category. It's nothing like LSD or mushrooms. It's totally different ball game. It will transport you into another realm. And people who haven't experienced that think I'm sounding crazy right now, but it's true. That experience is just completely insane. And I was actually reading about how there's a toad in South America, I think, that excretes a venom. And if you smoke that venom or somehow ingest that venom, Jaguar trips on DMT and ayahuasca. Dude.
What's that, brother?
Thanks for stopping by. There's a jaguar tripping on DMT in this video.
Oh my gosh. Look, I can't stay long. I just want to give you some love, man. You've worked so hard. When I first met you, you were like, man, let me interview you, bro. And then I talked to you and I was like, you've got like spunk, man. I think people would be into what you're doing. And I saw that spark and I was like, dude, let me give you a few pointers, a few tips. And you were like, all right. And then, you tell people all the time, like, I've been helping addicts for like 5 years before I even met you. And they're like, I want to get clean. I want to get my life together. And I know they mean it. And then you give them advice, a little bit of tips. And 90%, 95% of them don't take it because their mind changes once the chemicals start to leave. They're withdrawn. They're suffering. And I analogize a lot of times to that to make the point. I've given tips to people who want to grow their YouTube or whatever. Next thing you know, bro, they're like, they don't follow through. You did. And you went above and beyond what I expected. And I was like, dude,
I took every word you said as gold. And I listened to everything. And I took all your pointers and I listened. And I really was like, because I saw how fast you were growing. I was watching your channel for a while, dude. I used to watch the old video. I was watching your channel. Your channel was part of the reason why I had deconverted from Christianity. Was really because your approach was, we have so much in common. It's someone who had struggled with addiction, who
Yep.
sees all the same things I'm seeing, and look, you saw I remember you talking about zeitgeist and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, this guy knows what he's talking about, and he's bringing on scholars that know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, you man, you're gonna be at 100K before you know it, bro. I'm telling you.
you're
And
almost there right now.
yeah, we're almost at 100,000 subs, and we're
That's
growing
amazing.
a huge community. We're connected. We're growing a connection here. I hope my vision and my hope with my channel, and I hope the same as with you, is to help the little guy, help the little girl, help the ones that don't have the following get some attention. You can't make everyone grow, because sometimes people just don't have the spunk the same way or whatever it might be. But there are big YouTube channels in our community, in my opinion, that they're geared toward like once every other week dropping a video, and it's like they want to highly perform and they're focused on growing and whatnot. Where I'm like, what about trying to help grow the channels that are trying to get up off the ground? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the way I look at it is, dude, I'd rather build an army than have like a huge subscriber base of people out there that are going to vouch for you, that are going to have your back. They're going to say, Neil, Gnostic Informant, that's my boy. Watch your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm looking for, bro.
Yeah, and before you go, just John Geyer said that love you guys both Gnostic Informant, live forever. Best Gnostic.
Dude.
And Melody Joy says that Derek had a hand in my deconversion too.
Oh, so do I get wings in the non-existent afterlife, or?
Yeah. Thanks for stopping by, man.
Yeah, thank you for that, John. John just messaged me earlier, just saying how much he's seen me grow, especially in light of my recent video that I just did from the beginning. But yeah, man, I'm just proud of you, bro. I want you to keep going. Don't give up. You're going to have hiccups. There are going to be bumps. There's going to be stress. There's going to be this. There's going to be that. But you're not alone. There's 100 people almost right now. He doesn't even know it. I'm going to drive it home. Hold on 1 second. I had a phone call coming in. I'm going to drive it home and say, son, come look at my car. And he's going to come out and be like, Dad, your car's great. And I'm going to be like,
you should be like, we want to try it out. I'll let you drive it for around the block, see what you think.
Yeah, I'm going to trick him. And
oh, this is a nice car. That's when you should be like, it's yours or something. I don't know. You'll think of something.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to do. And it feels good, man. I'm trying to make up for my shortcomings. He needs me. All right. I gotta sign some stuff. Love you. Hey, keep it up, bro.
Too, thanks for stopping by.
All right. Bye.
Wow. That was is there any more? Yeah, that's the one. Okay. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Cathoni says, I'm in a halfway house, and because of Neil, I can have a passion to study, learn Greek and Latin, get closer to the gods and goddesses. Thanks, man. Hey, man. The act of like doing studying and looking and finding something that you're really interested could really help you like find some purpose. You know, it's good to hear that. It really is. Like, that's what helped me out, was finding something to be passionate about, was something that really fills the void in that. Because a lot of the people who are addicts like myself, there's like this void that no one can explain. Like, you're just you're looking for it just to fill the void somehow. And sometimes you can fill it with something healthy, like studying ancient Greek and Latin. That could work, and it worked for me. So if it's working for you, that's cool to hear. Oh, here we go. Tell us some stories of your psychedelic trip experiences. I know you met Shiva. Yes. Okay. I made a video about this. It was a phase. There was a good phase. It was a couple of years of in my early 20s. Yeah. 2013, something like that. Early 20s, yeah. 2013, 14, right around there, where I was, I was having like a hippie phase, if you will. You can call it that. Making DMT and, from Mimosa hostilis and Acacia confusa roots, those two plants they're legal. They're completely legal. And but they have high DMT content in them. Let's just say that. You know, I was trying it out for a while and having really crazy experiences. But there's one time that I don't think I've ever matched it or ever. It was the true breakthrough time that never happened again. It just randomly happened, and I was by myself. Weirdo, who's doing DMT by themselves? My weird ass was doing it. It's kind of embarrassing, but whatever. It's funny. And I tried, and you know, I took two giant hits of it, and next thing I know, it was like I was like in this cloudy white room, and there was this thing, this entity that had multiple hands, like you know how you see like the hands moving really fast. It looks like there's a whole bunch of millions of hands, like when the frame rate's really low or something, or really high or something. It was like that, but it also had spinning heads, multiple heads on the sides, heads in the front. I think there might have been 4 heads. I can't remember, but it was multiple heads spinning in a row, and it was flying and like sitting Indian style, and it had like things floating around it. Like there was like objects that were like revolving around it. I remember that in particular. And I remember just being like, "Oh my God, is this like a god? Am I seeing God right now?" I remember thinking that in my head. That was distinctly the thought that was in my head, and I'll never forget it. I'll never forget that moment. Never forget that moment. And I didn't even. And the funny part is, when I described it to somebody, they were like, that's Shiva," or some. Actually, no, they didn't say Shiva. They said Brahma, but Shiva and Brahma both kind of look similar because of the Snappy in the comments just said Shiva, but the person that I was describing this to said that's Brahma, and I looked up Brahma online. I'm like, whoa, it looks just like that. So I'm wondering, like, because part of the Vedic tradition was to press soma. Like if I pull out the Vedas right now, it's somewhere over here. If I pull out the Vedas right now and I flip to any random page, it's so common in the Vedic text. Every couple, the Vedas is like hymns, like the Orphic hymns, kind of. It's not like there's very little passages that are like stories. It's not like stories. It's not like Genesis where it's like, and then Abraham went with his son and they went here. It's not like that. The Vedas is more like, oh Agni, oh Indra, oh Mitra and Varuna, oh how great are these gods, oh press the soma, and like press the soma means like it's like this extracting a hallucinogenic drug from this soma plant, this mysterious plant, and it's always pressing it, so it makes you think they're extracting something from it, and they describe it as a milk. Anyways, it sounds a lot like ayahuasca to me, and so I'm wondering if they were experiencing similar visions that I saw on DMT. Makes a lot of sense in my book. So it was crazy. That was a crazy time. Thank you, Rachel. 49K. Whoa, did I just reach 9K? No. 40K. I'm just kidding. But what do you guys think about this new lens, or this camera actually? I did get another lens that I haven't checked out yet. It's a 16 millimeter. It's more wide. So I might be using that more often than I use this. This is really close up. Like it's zoomed in my face. You can't see anything else from my face. So, but I might use this for like when I have to like something like serious to say. Like this zoom in. I like this lens because it's really close up. Scheduled a stream for tomorrow about cancel culture. Hoping the community. Let me pull you up. So if anyone hasn't found you yet. Subscribe to James Apperson. You're live every day, and I really enjoy watching your videos and hearing your hearing your thoughts on certain stuff. I really do. So you really do have a good approach to a lot of the current events of today. And so I recommend your channel like hugely. A huge, like, anyone should be, just, you really should be tuned in. And I'm definitely looking forward to cancel culture. Is an interesting topic, because it's like, on one hand, is there an ostracizing aspect that people go too far, and on the other hand, is it democracy working itself out? Is there a balance? Like, those are the things that I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that tomorrow. I'll definitely be tuning in for sure. For sure. Have you read the Colburn? I haven't read that. I really haven't. Definitely. What is the Colburn? Colburn. Let me look it up. Colburn Bible. The Colburn is a series of manuscripts said to have been salvaged from Glastonbury Abbey fires in 1184. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested in various ancient texts and stuff like that. But yeah, the last thing I wanted to talk about before I go is that my channel, where I'm at now, where I'm going, definitely has been it's been very how do you say, stagnant, I guess. Not stagnant. I mean, it's been very. I've been changing a lot my attitudes towards things, my views on certain things, like mythicism, for example. But I really would like to do more exploring the historical side, and like getting into the deep history of the ancient world, and finding out like the reason why, like how do we end up with something like Christianity becoming the culture of an entire region of the world, right? It's questions like that, like how do we end up that way? And then I also want to start doing more exploring like science stuff, like consciousness. What is consciousness? Like, how does our brain work? What is going on? Like, what's up with it? Like, so you get ready for seeing some stuff like that. Definitely reaching out to some. Oh, and big announcement, by the way, I forgot to mention this. In, let's see, how many days from now? In 2 or 3 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I'm going to Toronto. And this is part of the reason why I got all this new camera equipment and stuff. I'm going to Toronto to film myself with Professor Tony Burke, Professor John Kloppenborg, and possibly a few others that are going to, if they're there at the time at Toronto University, whoever's around. Kloppenborg was telling me there might be 1 or 2 more people that might be there that I can just pull aside and ask some stuff. But these are scholars of Christianity. And John Kloppenborg wrote a book called Christ Associations, where he lays out the earliest Christ churches. But the word ecclesia actually means assembly. These assemblies operated in a certain way that the assemblies of like the Temple of Apollo, or the Temple of Dionysus, or the Temple of Hypsistos, Zeus Hypsistos. And he really explains the network, how the network was, how it transforms, how the Christians sort of come about. So his book is amazing. I'm going to interview him in person with full 4K. It's going to be 4K, 120 frames, good lighting, great mics. Both going to be mic'd up perfectly. It's going to be great quality. Then I have him, and then I have Dr. Tony Burke, who is the editor of the apocryphal text. He is like he's big into like all the Gospel of Judas, gospel, all the texts that aren't canon. He's the guy for that. So I'm going to ask him about all that stuff. So we're gonna go. This is gonna be covering early Christianity, in like all the way through, and hopefully I can get someone else there as well. But that's what I'm doing on the 10th, filming all day, and I'll be back and edit that stuff and put out some good videos with it. So be on the lookout for that. Don't forget about that second channel. The link's in the description for my second channel. And if you can, I really appreciate anyone that joins my Patreon and help contribute to this, because I'm just trying to make content for everyone to enjoy, you know. But it's obviously free, and I put it out for free. I usually don't put out videos just for Patreon because I want it to get out there, you know. But I appreciate people who do support me, and I really do, and that's why you see the quality that you see, because I'm putting it back into the content. I'm not just keeping it. Like my standard of living is very low. I just need to be able to eat, have internet, and make videos. That's my whole life. I'm not kidding. That's my whole life. And so, yes, Late Night Gnosis. The link is in the description for that channel. Check it out. Thanks for everybody who came through and hung out with me. You know, just wanted to do a laid back, by myself deal type thing. And yeah, you have just attained true gnosis.
You have just attained true gnosis. The demiurge has no power over you.